Hey, how's it going today? It's Gray on Film, and today we are taking a look at Matt Reeves' The Batman. This 2022 superhero noir film stars Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, and Paul Dano.
Fear is a tool.
The Batman focuses on the comic book character as he is more Batman than Bruce Wayne, feeling that he can do more good for Gotham as an imposing figure than the philanthropic rich guy. He is more detective than action star in a film trying to hunt down an almost mere vigilante, Paul Dano's The Riddler. Kravitz comes into the picture as Selena Kyle as an access point to the mobster underworld of Gotham. This nearly 3-hour-long mashup of noir and superhero tends towards an audience appeal. Pattinson is not changing the character as much as putting emphasis on the noir cliches. Batman has voiceover, is filled with angst, and has a general feeling of disorientation and pessimism classic to the genre. However, the film keeps its traditional ideas of morality. Crime is bad, it has to be stopped, and how far will the Batman go to stop it this time?
I got you!
Most of the noir elements come from the visual style. Matt Reeves has a very particular look for the film, rarely showing daylight or a clear night sky. While the Batman does have a much darker tone and a focus on a serial killer antagonist, it's still very much a superhero film in the end. In total, The Batman is a middling film for the year. While Pattinson and many of the supporting cast bring in great work, it is ultimately a film of contradictions. Again, I like the film and think it's worth the price of admission. It may be more for the superhero crowd than the noir nuts or darkness daddies or fedora fanboys or whatever the fan of noir films are calling themselves these days. Okay, that's it. The Batman is a pretty good movie. But you know what's a pretty good movie? David Mamet's Homicide. Hey, how's it going again? It's Gray on Film, and today we are going to talk about Homicide, directed by David Mamet. David Mamet also wrote the script, and like Batman, the protagonist Bobby Gold has two identities. He is a homicide detective as well as a Jewish American.
Our plan is to serve and protect. Can I get back to you?
Due to rampant anti-Semitism Gold experiences while in the police force, he starts the film with an understanding that society wants him to be more of a cop.
That's what they said. All my goddamn life. And I listened to it. Huh? I was the donkey. I was the clown.
You were the outsider.
Yes.
I understand.
They made me the hostage negotiator.
And much like Batman, he is put onto a case that seems to call out to him from the void. A Jewish bodega owner has been murdered, and because Gold is the first on the scene, he is pulled off of one of the most important cases of his life. A case even the FBI has fumbled. So, he meets with those who he does not notice he has a deep connection with and realizes that his identity as a Jewish American may be more important than he originally thought.
You tell me, 10 more bucks a week they're making letting her work down there? Hey, not my people, baby. Fuck them.
Now, here's the tricky thing. The similarities between the Batman is pretty shaky at this point. Both Bobby Gold and the Batman have two sides to them, and one that they're actively repressing.
My grandmother was killed today. She stayed down there because she wanted to stay there. She was a fighter. She wanted to die there. She died there.
I'm sorry about your grandmother.
No one asked you to be sorry. No one asked for your sympathy. We would have appreciated your respect. You're a Jew and you talk that way in the house of the dead. Do you have any shame? Do you hate yourself that much? Do you belong nowhere?
However, it's what they do with these characters that makes Homicide a great noir film and what makes The Batman a pretty good one. Film noir is a tricky idea to pin down. In essence, it's a film genre, but in reality, it may be something bigger. Mark T. Conrad would describe in his book, The Philosophy of Film Noir, what makes a film noir is a particular mood, tone, or sensibility. It's a particular outlook on life. At the heart of the noir mood or tone of alienation, pessimism, and cynicism, we find on the one hand the rejection or loss of a clearly defined ethical value, and on the other, the rejection or loss of the meaning or sense of human existence. The result of this is devastating. We no longer have any sense of who or what we are as human beings. Gold struggles with his Jewish identity, as Batman struggles with his family name. In The Batman, Bruce Wayne begins to peek through as his father's involvement in Gotham's corruption is unwound. Gold also begins to regard his Jewishness and begins down a path that threatens his identity as a cop.
I want to be a part of it.
Good. Then you are a part of it. And now there's something we need from you.
Yes.
That list of names. We need the list.
I told you, as a policeman, I can't.
We need it.
What he wants, give it to him, please.
The building you entered was under surveillance. We need the list.
While the character does change throughout the film, Batman's sense of morality stays firm. Batman is fine with punching, but not killing, and that doesn't change his relationship with his name. Gold's identity, however, pushes him towards crime. He is no longer a cop, but a vigilante. He is the man in the batsuit that goes around punching people who are doing wrong. Both are alienated and pessimistic about where they live, but we would hope that the system could exist without Batman, but sadly Gotham is too corrupted to allow for the existence of Bruce Wayne. The world will never stop being anti-Semitic, and so these acts that are carried out by Gold seem as a necessity for a vigilante compared to his abilities as a cop. Again, the setups for both films is where the noir cliches come into play, but sadly as the characters develop, they move apart. Batman changes, but in small ways, in which he loses his pessimism and alienation, ultimately landing on the side of society. A clear delineation from the neo-noir films, like Homicide.
How can you help me?
Perhaps someday I could tell you the nature of evil. Would you like to know how to solve the problem of evil?
No, man. Because if I did, then I'd be out of a job.
Many reviews have argued the Batman is the most grounded version yet. However, it's still not realistic. And this is the second point in which the Batman struggles with keeping with the noir tone. Jason Holt explains that the importance of realism to noir, as realism in noir extends to beyond the verisimilitude of studio production and location shooting. Not only the settings, but also scenes, the action, the depiction of violent crime, and the characters involved are all quite realistic by and large.
I'm scared, man.
I know you are.
Yeah.
The first sections of The Batman and Homicide work to create this sense of realism. The Riddler uses intense violence to complete his ends and root out corruption within Gotham, and Gold stumbles upon a grisly murder. However, the Batman film struggles to keep up as characters like Selina Kyle and the Penguin pop in and out. Not to mention that the Batman cowl does very little to ground the character compared to something like a fedora or a trench coat in traditional noir. In order to retain this realism, both films begin to push an unfair world, one in which grannies are killed and justice is no longer available, there is only vengeance. This is where the fact that the Batman is a superhero film takes away from the story being told. Holt explains that the foundation of mainstream optimism is patently escapist, whereas the neo-noir is transparently realist. By allowing Pattinson's Batman the ability to become a savior and see the error in his practices, we come to understand the world as redeemable. But in Homicide, after all the change that the character goes through, he begins to realize that this world is chaos, and no amount of words will help him navigate it.
We solved your case for you.
Why? I told you why we killed the man, because she had that fortune in her basement.
So these 2 points noting the lack of realism and the change in the character away from pessimism and existentialism point out a flaw in Matt Reeves' Batman. By blending the overly optimistic and rewarding morals at the end, the Batman, despite its visuals and character development of a noir protagonist, the film ends as a contradiction to the elements that interested me in this experiment. The Batman is sadly just another example of the conventional that stands out in the third act, as no one is killed by gunfire and the characters change for the better. So again, in total, The Batman is a middling film for the year. While Pattinson and many of the supporting cast bring in great work, it is ultimately a film of contradiction when it would not have to be. Noirs, while under the Hays Code, often ended with more upbeat endings than the neo-noirs of the modern day, but it's odd for a film that won't shy away from many modern foibles such as online radicalization and political corruption, would shy away from a more noir ending and give an audience the catharsis of knowing that Batman is going through the same feelings many of us go through on a daily basis. A sense of powerlessness and fighting for what's right, but without others standing alongside you. This has been Gray on Film, wishing you a great time at the movies, and have a great day.